All right. So sweet potatoes grow in the ground. I want to give you an example of photosynthesis. So sweet potatoes, imagine you have, and I know there's nothing on the slide that you're looking at, just listen. Sweet potatoes have leaves. The sweet potato itself grows in the ground. So like at my house, I've got a bunch of sweet potato vines, and they're going all over the place, all over the garden, outside of the garden, into the grass. The sunlight hits that sweet potato leaf. There's a cell in that sweet potato leaf, and in that cell there's a chloroplast in that cell. The sunlight hits that chloroplast, and that chloroplast is making what?
Sugar.
Making sugar. And it doesn't store that sugar in that leaf. It doesn't store a lot of it in that leaf. That sugar has to exit the cell through one of the ways we talked about, either through the membrane, which it doesn't go straight through the membrane. It's either using the protein doorway, or it's going to have to use exocytosis. It's using a cell process of transporting out. And it's going to leave that cell, and it's going to travel, kind of like in the bloodstream of the plant, but it's going to travel down to the roots of that plant. And there's this little bitty, like acorn-looking thing that's in the roots, and it adds a little bit of sugar, and that acorn thing gets a little bit larger and a little bit larger. And over time, that acorn-sized root or mass under the ground gets larger and larger and larger towards the size of a softball sometimes, because there's so much sugar from the leaves above. The more leaves that are out there, the more sugar it can send, the larger that sweet potato becomes, and the more of those sweet potatoes it can make. So, because what's going to happen is that plant cannot stay through winter. It's going to die when the first frost hits, or even something close to a frost. It's going to die. It'll turn like all nasty, like a lettuce left in your fridge for a long time. When it gets like kind of liquidy, it's going to turn to that when it freezes, because all the cells explode like a can in the freezer. So the top, everything above the surface of that sweet potato plant, when it freezes, is going to die. But below the surface, you've got this big old battery that's full of what? What did we say it's full of?
ATP.
Sugar, not ATP. It's full of sugar. Because what's going to happen is that sweet potato, whenever it gets to the right temperature, and it can tell what temperature it is, it's going to start sending out another shoot. And if it gets too warm, that after it's really cold, when it's warmer, what does that mean? What season is it?
Usually summer.
Spring. It's going to start when it's going to hit spring, and there's a little shoot that's going to come out, and it's going to be a vine that's just really, really tall, centimeter or inch long, and it's going to grow to where it can be 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 feet long. And then it's going through photosynthesis to put sugar back in that sweet potato. That sweet potato is holding sugar so that when the plant can't go through photosynthesis, it can still give sugar to the mitochondria, because plants have mitochondria too. So that leaf is producing so much sugar that it keeps it alive right then, and it has extra to be put into that sweet potato that's in the ground. The sweet potato on top of the surface dies, and then when spring comes, it sends up a shoot, and the process starts over. It starts growing and growing and growing, more and more and more and more leaves, makes sugar, keeps it alive, and stores in the sweet potato. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out there and steal all their sugar. It's been working all year long, turning water and carbon dioxide and sunlight into sugar, and I'm going to go and steal that energy, kill the plant, and eat it. But I can't get all of them. I'll skip some of them. Some of them are so small I won't be able to catch them or grab them, or I may intentionally leave some of them in there. And next year, some of the sweet potato will break out on the surface. The vine will come out of the ones I missed, and it'll grow a little vine. I'll cut that vine, stick some of it in the ground, leave some of it on there, but stick some of it in the ground, and that little vine will actually grow a sweet potato, or 2 or 3 or 4. And then every time that vine grows, I just cut some of it off, tear some of the leaves off, stick it in the ground, and it grows a sweet potato. Over and over and over. That's how you can reproduce sweet potatoes. So sweet potatoes will grow these really pretty leaves that actually taste good. They taste like you can make them in a stir fry, or you can put them in a salad. But I'm hijacking the process of photosynthesis. I know that it has stored all that sugar in the root, like a carrot, and I'm going to go and steal that energy, and I'm going to eat it. My body will digest it, send the sugar to my cells, and my cells use what organelle to turn it into ATP?
Oh, the mitochondria.
The mitochondria. Do y'all understand the process?
Yes.
I'm about to erase the board, and you're going to have to write it from memory. You have my slides, and you'll have this video that I'm making, and you can just ask questions if you want to. But that is the process. Go.